week went well. This one I think is a really fascinating story, just based on the numerous topic of articles and books we've read. So this is from the Daily Mail. Just 18% of U.S. households are nuclear families with a married couple and children, down 40% since 1970s and the lowest since 1959. The number of homes in America with traditional nuclear married couples with children is now at the lowest it's been since 1959, according to census data. The Census Bureau count showed that 17.8% of the United States, 100 out of 130 million households, featured married parents with children under the age of 18. That's only down 18.6% from last year and down much more significantly from over 40% in 1970. There are currently just 23.1 million American homes with those nuclear families, which is the fewest since 1959. This is kind of repetitive. Let me just drop down some bullet points. America's fertility rate dropped 55.4 births per 1,000 in the second quarter of 2021, down 58.5% in the same period of 2019. Americans are also living alone at a higher rate than they used to. The percentage of adults in the U.S. living with a spouse was 50%, down 52% 10 years ago. Over 37 million adults lived alone in early 2021, up from 33 million in 2011.
When they say a nuclear family, does that mean it's like gay people too, or are they just talking about heterosexual?
That's a good question. I know it's a serious. I know you're asking a legit question. Look, when I think of nuclear family, I think of mom and dad.
Mom and daddy. And
exactly.
Yeah, mom, daddy, kids.
Mom, dad, meaning the genders being he and she.
All right, let's stick it to where the nuclear family was originally. Yeah. Before we go in, us make assumptions of, changing definitions just to suit, whatever.
That shit is nothing surprising because it's fucking. I mean, the divorce rate is at an all-time high, and then I know firsthand. I'm gonna say 3 people who just had babies, and it's just like I know the dad ain't gonna be in the picture. It's just like, yo, I'm gonna just have this fucking kid anyway. So, what do we think about this shit? Bruh. I mean, this ain't news to me. This shit sounds like old news. Like motherfuckers is on some. I can't even say trifling shit, but I think really the biggest thing it comes down to is, I don't know, I'm pretty sure welfare's been around for a while, but the working woman, once that came into play, niggas is just like, fuck it, I don't need no dude. So I could work and get whatever support I'm getting from this motherfucker. So I'm good. I'll just be by myself.
I got the same thoughts as Kel. I got the same thoughts as Kel, looking at history. All these numbers changed right after the women's rights movement. And though there was some good that came out of it for society, there's a lot of damage that's been done to the home structure. The whole thing is, when the nuclear family used to be where dad went to work and mom was home with the children. And once, women went to the workforce and no longer were homemakers and, caregivers, they basically destroyed the family situation, because now these women weren't home to take care of the family. And, now these kids had to go to daycares and other institutions. There was no home cooked meals. Now we had like pickup, delivery, fast food, all of that other stuff going on. Then you had quarrels in the home because now that, the woman wants to step over the line and be in a woman's place as well as a man's place. And I'm not being sexist. I'm just saying what it was back then. The whole thing is taking over the role of trying to be the mother and trying to be the father. Women kind of basically undid the whole entire structure, the entire structure. So it doesn't surprise me. But my whole thing is that it's also the system itself, because you have an institution or a system that rewards women for leaving the nuclear home. Everything from the divorce, where they can get child support and alimony and everything else, to the welfare system, where as well as child support if they have a child with a man that they're not married to. So it's just like there's no lose for them at all. There's no lose for them at all. And the whole thing is they don't realize they are the ones that have done the most damage to society than anyone else by destroying the family.
Smith, what you got?
Part of that, I was asking that question about, part of what you said was the uptick came in about 2021.
So the 2021 reference was due to like American fertility dropping by 55.4 births per 1,000 in the second quarter. And
well, I mean, like the going through the pandemic, because that's what we were going at that particular point.
We
started understanding that the relationship that they were in weren't working. Other people, like the nuclear family, is funny now because it's not the original family, as we were saying in the beginning. And the nuclear family changed because some people just have shared space. They're not necessarily married, even though they have kids. They'll have kids and share that space until they move out and get another space. But yeah, I'm piggybacking. I'm piggybacking still what Black Zeus was just saying. I think as far as the nuclear family, that's just something that people have to want. And I think the definition of that has changed, and I think it's forever changed. So I don't think it's ever going back to a traditional, as we would say, family, mom, dad, son and daughter kind of thing with the fucking dog. I don't think it goes back to that.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, 2.5 kids, and a white picket fence.
But it's also interesting, like with this new shifting of the definition, we've also seen this sort of erosion in our society too. And it is not a coincidence of that. I get embracing the new terminologies to what we should define as family, but like we could also look at how these kids are being raised and look at how society is today and just say, you know what, this doesn't feel right. But nah, it's kind of tragic.
Guys, because I got guys pretty tight though.
Just for the record, that's not me with all that noise, though.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who
that's a lot of noise.
Just for the record, that is not me.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who that was, but what you were saying, Smith?
I was saying that it doesn't mean that two moms can't raise the child or two dads can't raise the child. So you can't necessarily say that, that, if it's two moms, it's going to be a fucked up kid. They got to have two moms and have a dude that's in a life that comes to see. I mean, it's all fucked up, basically.
Schubert.
But we ain't going back to the tradition as we know.
I did it.
Thank you, bro.
Nah. Schubert, if you need to talk, I just unmute yourself. But
that nigga Schubert on that feedback.
Schubert stay having these circus events in his house every Sunday morning now. I don't know what's going on. But you're absolutely right, Smith. Yes, now that we are embracing new family structures, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can't raise good, upstanding citizens, but that is to be seen in mass numbers. I think what Schubert was highlighting is the single parenthood household families that is dominating, because I don't think most people have, I think we're coming around to the LGBTQ, family dynamics, but I think it's the single parent, in particular, the single mom parent household that's becoming the new trend, and this sort of erosion in our society in regards of how kids are being brought up, and and we know the side effects. We know the studies, like when you look at prison statistic numbers, the vast majority of the brothers, when I say brothers, that include, white males and stuff. The vast majority of men that are in prison, they often state that they were in single mom raised households. And when you talk about, you guys, we got two educators here. A lot of times you see your most problematic student are kids who are from single mom parent raised households, and you see that kids who come from a more structured family, two parent dynamic, those kids seem to be less of a trouble, a burden and stuff like that. But it's interesting because I don't know if you guys could see my screen. There's one highlighted story that's here that Elon Musk, right? He said that civilization is going to crumble if people do not have more children. So like the story that we just went over in regards to the fertility dropping, you have someone, billionaire tech mogul, Elon Musk, saying that, we need to address this situation.
Hey, you know what? I got a question. Cal. Just to get y'all take on the shit. A lot of times you had a single mom, whatever, and then niggas will say like the kid is off the hook because they don't have that male in the house. Do you think it's the same if the nigga was if the kid, specifically a male, was being raised by just the dad? Like, would it still be that issue?
There are studies that breaks that down. There's a brother that, Schubert and I will often share videos from him, Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, and it's not like a large study, but it's a study nonetheless that do show that when kids are raised in single dad households versus two single mom households, that kid fare better. Single dads,
even if it's just a daughter,
even if it's just the daughter too.
Yeah,
it's something about, and this is not saying this is an indictment to single moms, but that single dads tend to just, I don't know, man. I can't.
Single dads tend to demand more structure.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, probably. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's what it is, Black Juice.
Single dads tend to be more structured and more, pragmatic about things. They're more concerned about the bigger chunks that are most important versus the finer little details of like how cute your outfit is when you go to school. It's like, okay, what are your grades looking like? Or what is your behavior like, this, that, and the other. And single dads tend to be like, not as quick as moms to go to my baby isn't wrong. If you look at if you look in the hood, who's the ones coming and cursing out the teachers? It's usually the mothers, not the fathers.
Yeah.
It's usually the mothers coming to cuss out the teachers. They're the ones that's being irrational. It's not usually the father.
Yeah. Like I'm looking up I'm looking up an article that's single dads versus single moms, and one of the things they do try to point out is that single dads tend to make they're financially off better than single moms. Hence, that's one of the reasons as to why single dads fare better. The money is an issue.
Money can be an issue. I can see that. But also single dads are, once again, are going to be more pragmatic with their money.
That's true too.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just said, we ain't trying to get that cute outfit. Trying to get something that's functional. We ain't giving a fuck about it. Like, so that does make a lot of sense. All right, I'm getting off. Hey, Black Zeus, you did sum that up real well. I just wanted to see that. I wanted to get off right after you finished it with a sentence because you summed that up pretty damn well. We like structure, and we ain't for all the goofy shit, even though we like to have fun. That's what it is. And to say that 9 times out of 10, if a female, not a female, if a parent is coming into school and it is a female, they generally are the ones that's coming to be irate. The dads don't come in like that.
Yeah.
The dads come in with an understanding of, I'm coming to have a conversation. I'm not coming to be accusatory at all.
Yeah, they come with logic and not emotion.
Exactly. So you summed that up pretty well. All right, fellas, I'm gonna go do this freaking dance, man.
Man, go do the family thing. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead and do the family thing.
Go do the dad thing. Go do the dad thing.
Yeah, go do the dad thing.
And Kel, you ain't break this book down that well either. I just wanted to say that too.
Peace, no, I definitely did, bro.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Text me.
I looked at the
time. I looked at the time of the
I'm about to say, text me my feedback, Smith.
All right.
So like I just pulled up an article, like some of the issues for single mothers. One being, I stated before, lesser salary. This is what for Mom Junction. Another reasons for why single mom.
Just remember the fact, because I know somebody's gonna say, well, they have single salary because they're single moms. No. The statistics have already shown that men tend to go towards harder jobs that pay more, more difficult jobs that pay more. They're a little bit more aggressive and more competitive in the job market. So the whole thing is that makes them better earners. Women tend to go to jobs that are a little bit easier in sales, in social work, in communications, things of that sort. Statistics have proven that. So just for the record, so no one says, oh, well, they're single moms and what jobs can they get? No.
Yeah. And this, everything else from this article is really on some subjective shit, like involvement at schools. Single mothers often are judged based on how they do for their children, while most single mothers have to work to run the household. They are cut no slack for not attending parent-teacher meetings, sports events, or school events.
No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. They chose that responsibility of having a child.
I'm just curious because this article is single dads versus single moms, the differences, right? So they're saying that single moms are judged more harshly when it comes to their kids' school involvement. And I don't know if that's true. Like, it's not backed by any study. See, like when it comes to the lesser salary, they reference footnotes and they got studies behind that. But when they talk about school involvement, they make it seem as though that single moms are judged harshly than single dads if the kid is not, doing well in school, not doing well in sporting events or school events. And I don't know.
No, they're not judging her. They didn't say it based off the performance. They said based off of the mom's attendance and being participation.
Correct.
What else is fucking overlooked and not really spoken about with that whole single mom situation? These motherfuckers be having support systems, so it ain't like it's just y'all.
Exactly.
Y'all be living at home with your sister or with your mama. Like even LaShelle's homegirl who's about to have a fucking kid, even though the baby daddy already say he don't want nothing to do with it. She's moving back to home because she say, that's where my support system is. So y'all motherfuckers ain't doing that shit by yourself, bro.
The damn sure not.
Yeah, so like I don't know, this is a very biased article. I'm not going to go through all of their 8 bullet points as to how single moms are judged more harshly than single dads, but I think back to your point, Zeus, I think after you talk about the second wave of feminism, you do see this sort of this rise of this uncoupling of nuclear families, which is very unfortunate, man. And
it shouldn't be called a nuclear family. It should just be called a family, because at the end of the day, that is the root and the core of every family. It's a mother, a father, and a child. That is.
It's 2021. We're trying to be open-minded to the other dynamics of family. That's why they call it nuclear.
Two parents and a child. They need to shame the fucking whatever the opposite of the nuclear family is. Call that shit like a bitch ass family, so that maybe the motherfuckers will feel bad about the fact that y'all niggas ain't, like put some shame on that shit.
Yo, dude, this funny thing is, I was just talking to a mom the other day about that. She was saying that's the problem with our society now. There's no shame in nothing. It's like you want to be, you want to have 16 kids by 10 different men, no shame in it. You want to be 300 pounds overweight, no shame in it. You want to be belligerent and ignorant and uneducated, no shame in it. We just accept everything. And because we accept everything, we've destroyed everything.
Yeah.
We have no standard.
Yeah.
We have no standard.
Yeah. You know what? We've entered this space of don't the only, like, how does it go again? Don't judge me. Only God could judge me, or some shit like that. And it's just like, nah, I'm going to judge this shit out of you. What the fuck? Like, nah.
Especially when you have an impact on society.
Exactly.
The whole thing is like you said, most of the dudes in prison, single mother homes.
Single mother homes. These kids running up and down the street with nothing to do. Single moms.
And the thing is, they, when people want to talk about it, they want to talk about the nuances. They want to talk about the one-off. Like, well, Bradley came from a single mother home, and he became a doctor. He became a neurosurgeon. It's like, all right, you want to talk about the one dude that became a neurosurgeon and ignore the 45 dudes that became hoods, criminals, Bloods, Crips, drug dealers, murderers, rapers, and everything else, right? Yeah. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
So what do we think about, like I said, Elon Musk was reported saying that civilization is going to crumble if people don't have more children. The tech billionaire said low and rapid declining birth rates are one of the biggest risks to civilization. This comment come as a growing number of people are deciding not to have children, citing concerns of climate change and inequality. Musk added that too many good, smart people think there are too many people in the world and that the population is growing out of control. So what do you think? How do we feel about Elon Musk and his concerns and statements as we are wrapping this conversation up about the nuclear families?
I mean, I think if it's going to be to the detriment of society, like what's the bigger detriment? Creating motherfuckers who aren't upstanding citizens, or not creating motherfuckers and risking what? The end of civilization? Like, I don't think that shit is a fucking, like, I don't think you can go right either way. Just got to be smart about that shit. Thank you, Bradley. That meant a lot to me.
Those are valid points, brother. Like I say, like, yo, you could raise those because I hear you, Elon, but like Kel says, it's just like, what, you just bringing kids where parents don't have a purpose for them? Black Zeus, what you got?
I'm gonna sound like I normally sound. Fuck it. I mean, at the end of the day, mankind is bringing global warming. Mankind is self-destructive. Mankind really doesn't do anything that is beneficial to anything other than mankind. But at the same token, mankind destroys itself, over religion, over territory, over political and, beliefs and this, that, and the other. So fuck it. Let it come to an end. Everything has a beginning. Everything has to come to an end.
Yeah, I think Elon, like, I get where he's coming from an economic standpoint. You need the next generation to sustain this sort of ecosystem that we have created. But like, if you don't address, like you said, the political bullshit, the environmental bullshit, even the economic bullshit, the inequalities that are out there, it's just like, then fuck it. And like Kel pointed out, it's just, again, right after we just talked about nuclear families, the problem we have now is this rise of single motherhood, and a lot of these children are not raised in structured homes. So like, what, you just want kids being popped out and not being productive members of society? You guys, like,
people don't have the responsibility.
Exactly. Like, Elon and the powers that be have to really address that situation. I think one of the things that need to happen is, to Kel's point, I think maybe not bring back shame, but definitely don't have all of these assistant programs out there for people who make the wrong decisions.
Exactly. Take away the incentives.
Yeah, you got to take away the incentives.
When there's no safety net, you watch your step a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Watch your step a little bit harder, and maybe you got to see a couple other people fall and splat on the concrete for you to be like, oh, this is for real.
Yeah.
Because I tell you right now, I grew up in the hood. I saw that shit all around me, and seeing other people hit the concrete was what made me say, nope, not doing that.
Oh yeah, like, you grow up in hardship, in a single parent home, and I knew for myself, I was just like, nah, there's no way I'm doing this shit. There's no way. And when I look at not just women, but even men who decide to not necessarily have the nuclear family intact and decide to bring a child into this world. I'm like, yo, you do you not realize the hardship that is coming your way? This shit is not easy. Like, I don't know. But anyway, all right, next story, right? This is insanity. So this is from the New York Post. Smoking crack sanctioned at New York safe injection sites, driving businesses away. Smoking crack cocaine is officially sanctioned at the safe injection sites Mayor Bill de Blasio brought to Manhattan this week in a move that infuriated the center's neighbors. People are allowed to bring their substance that they prefer to use here, and they are permitted to consume the substance in the manner of their choice. East Harlem site director Kayleen C., whatever the last name is. We are there to make sure that no medical emergencies occur, to connect them into care if they need that, she said. Basically adding that many of our clients use drugs laced with fentanyl, including heroin, cocaine, crack, amphetamine, and K2. What's K2? I don't know, whatever. The nonprofit is one of two in Upper Manhattan that become the country's first legal shooting galleries when they open Tuesday. Obviously, there's been drawbacks in regards of having these safe sites, but we are seeing this sort of thing pop up in mass now, where people are now free to use the drug of their choice in these safe cities across the United States. So what do we think now that New York City has now two safe sanctioned sites for people to get high on drugs?
I don't know, man. I'm talking with that shit. I guess I'm okay with it because niggas is gonna use the drugs one way or another, so they kind of want to make sure that the people don't fucking die after using the shit, or they get whatever medical assistance they need. I don't know. I mean, are they promote? I think at this point, niggas just realize like, yo, the drug epidemic, regardless of what it is something that really can't be stopped. So like the niggas are just gonna put them in a position to where like I guess less people die from it. So fuck it. Good idea. Like there ain't shit they can do to stop it, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I understand the reason behind these safe sites is so that people could use clean syringes and medical equipment to get high, so that way they don't carry diseases. Like one of the most common ways HIV is transmitted is by dirty needle sharing. So I get that. Like if people are going to shoot heroin, at least give them clean syringes. But like, I don't want my tax dollars to be assisting in this sort of demonic bullshit. Like I get it. I don't know, man. It just seems like and I'm not biblical whatsoever, not religious whatsoever. It just seems like some end of the time shit that we're just doing. We're embracing this sort of lunacy. And like you said, Cal, not bringing back shame. Like rather than, I would like to see exactly why rehab centers are not working, with these individuals. Like now this is the alternative. Like what's happening at rehab centers that we can get these people to be cleaned up and be productive members of society? I don't know. Black Zeus, what you got?
Again, I'm going to come off the way I always come off. No, I'll put it like this. There are children that need tutors and support systems to help them be the best possible human being that they could be in the world. And instead of using that resource to make better, to create better children, we're using those resources to support broken men and women. Yeah, see how that end result works out for you. Like I'm not gonna spend the money to buy or build a new car that is eco-friendly and this that. I'm just gonna keep putting money into a gas guzzling, toxic, broken down machine over and over. I'm going to spend thousands of dollars to get nothing back in return, because anybody that's in this situation is not going to give shit back to society. They're just existing. That's just the facts. It sounds cold.
They're drifters,
hard, but they're not giving back anything to society. So the return on investment isn't there. You're not talking about people that are going to become outstanding citizens. You're talking about people that you're feeding into their vice.
Yeah,
and it's toxic. And then what message are you sending to the children? What message are you sending to the children? That you're saying it's fucking okay. Go. You want to do drugs? We'll take care of you. You want to have children out of wedlock, 5, 6? We'll take care of you. You want to make bad choices over and over and over, no repercussions. We'll take care of you. And on top of that, we will financially punish those who made the right choices, those who did the right thing, those who struggled and bust their ass to achieve something. We will take their financial, blood, sweat, and tears to support your bad habits, your bad decisions.
See, the only way to really fucking combat that shit is just be like, these niggas is lost. Fuck them. Just let them. Whatever happens to them, happens to them. Like, one thing that I will say, and is, I kind of was thinking about this shit as y'all was speaking. Like, I don't fully understand how the fuck addiction works, because there's nothing that I can say that I'm really addicted to. So, like,
you ain't addicted to beating your meat, but I never mind.
Yeah, well, aside from that, but still, just like, why aren't the drug rehabs working? No, because I guess when niggas is addicted to shit, these motherfuckers can't stop. I just personally don't know. So, like,
I understand the psychology of addiction.
Yeah, am I saying that it's okay to forget about niggas? No, but like, that's just gonna be the only way. Like, these niggas is a lost cause. Let them go ahead and use the motherfucking drugs that they're gonna use. Whatever the fuck happens to them, happens to them. And then we just focus on praising the motherfuckers who make it.
Well, the one thing that's kind of short-sighted with these drug addicts is some of them are violent drug addicts. And this is a problem. And this is what the article was pointing out, where businesses that's going to be neighboring these sort of safe injection sites, they're concerned about the people that's going to be clamoring around this area and how this is going to impact their business. I can only imagine
the community.
And the community, like Schubert said, you got little kids ripping and running down the street, and then they see all these druggies, these unsavory like people loitering in front of this spot, and now you as a parent having to explain what that location is. I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's interesting that these are now. It's becoming a trend now. We talked about various states doing this, and now it's like New York is doing this. They're like, look, bring the drug of your choice, and you could shoot up, and there'll be no consequences for your drug use. If anything, we'll be providing you the clean syringes for you to shoot up. So,
and medical services.
And medical services too. Yes, a drain medical service just in case your ass OD and shit.
But mind you, if someone who is in harm's way, my kid falls, breaks his arm, and I don't have medical insurance, they won't fucking touch him.
Yeah.
Because his life is not in danger.
Yeah. Or they'll take you in, but they'll give you a big ass bill. Yeah, exactly. They'll give you a big ass bill. They'll do the bare minimum. Yeah. Give you a big ass bill. And say, while right up the street, a drug, fuck out of here. Yeah. Fuck out of here. It says, to wrap this up, when asked how the city will regulate or inspect the sites, the spokesman said, we maintain regular communication with the providers and offer technical assistance. The providers have decades of experience providing life-saving services to their clients. staff are medically trained, and the sites have a very diligent protocol in place. So again, like you said, Black Zeus, these motherfuckers are given the resources to
make bad choices.
To make bad choices. It's
and the whole thing is they say saving lives. What exactly are you saving? What exactly are you saving? Someone who's probably going to, and I'm not saying, I know it sounds harsh. I know it sounds cruel, because people have different circumstance, situations, X, Y, and Z. But my whole thing is that, listen, at the end of the day, we all need to eat. We all need food, clothing, shelter. We all need some place to sleep, some place to shit. Beyond that, you have no justification for why you going up here and taking syringes, sticking in your arm to get a buzz.
Yeah.
I know how addiction works, but if you never started that shit, you wouldn't be addicted to that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I get how addiction, like you said, I get how it starts. You're in a moment of vulnerability and depression, and things are just not going well in your life, and you need an outlet. But damn it, find a fucking positive outlet. Shit.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. Start reading books. Don't join our book club. Form your own book club. Or, like start doing something positive. Go to the gym or do something. Go for walks. Volunteer. Volunteer your time. That's free as shit. You can always volunteer. It's astounding though. But the resources thing, like you said, Black Zeus, is just like, wow, really? Like you said, your kid breaks your arm, and you see a $6,000 bill with no assistance coming your way. Motherfucker ODs foaming at the mouth, and they're resuscitating their life. All right.
Let them all die.
This next story is very fascinating. Basically, we've talked about slavery quite often in this book club. Unfortunately, our resident, our resident pro-black has left.
Our resident slave expert.
Our resident slave expert has dropped off. So, unfortunately, we can't get his take. But I think this is going to be a something that Black Zeus truly would like, because he always talk about the Victim Olympics especially when we talk about in America, there's a lot to be had here. So this is from Zero Hedge. The hotspots of modern slavery. Approximately, there's 10.5% of North Korea's population, including migrant workers and human trafficking victims, are categorized as modern slaves. While this only amounts to roughly 7% of the grand total of estimated modern slaves around the world, that only one other country in the world comes close to this population's share in size. So in this chart, North Korea has approximately 10.5%. Eritrea comes in at 9.3%. Burundi, I couldn't even point that in a map, has 4.4%. And Central African Republic 2.2, Afghanistan 2.2, South Sudan 2.1, Pakistan 1.7. So it's interesting to see. The reason why I brought it up is because, when we always talk about the plight in America and shit like that, it's just like, there's real slavery that's happening out here. And to see these numbers, these percentage, and though I rattled off the percentage, these numbers are in the hundreds of thousands. North Korea is in millions of people who are considered in modern day slavery, but yet, people who are in first world nations cry about shit. So what do we think about modern slavery? Do we get enough discussion to have people reflect better? And what do we think about North Korea and some of these other countries I've named that are leading this sort of charge in this unfortunate situation?
Hey, so these niggas got actual slaves with slave masters?
So like let's look up the definition of modern slavery. I think that's probably important. I don't think it's probably the textbook.
Essentially, any time that you are making someone or forcing someone to, labor or serve, you know, outside of their will or outside of their choice,
Correct.
It's basically slavery.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't have to have necessarily cotton fields and a whip and an overseer in order to be a slave. It's simply someone who is laboring or doing things against their will or not of their choice. You could be a labor slave, you could be a sex slave, you could you could, like, for instance, one of my former clients who was a stripper told me about how when she came here illegally from Brazil, she had to work, in a strip bar and basically prostitute herself to earn back her freedom, or they would, do harm to her family back in Brazil. That is a form of slavery.
Yeah. The textbook definition that they have, according to antislavery.org, modern slavery is the severe exploitation of other people for personal and commercial gain.
There you go.
So, yeah. So,
well, you know what? I think that a lot of that shit, anytime it's gonna happen in countries where niggas know that they can get away with that shit. So I mean, I don't want to go as far to say like, communist is slavery, but it happens in, what did you say, South Korea?
Yeah, South Korea is leading the charge in regards of how they identify modern slaves. So there's, 2.6 million. 2.6 million people are classified as being under modern slavery.
And in South Korea, they're communists, right?
I think so. I think their political affiliation is communistic.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that both of them fucking go hand in hand, but
remember the story that Schubert just told. It's like just now. Yeah, we have modern day slavery in the United States that's not often talked about. He just talked about a Brazilian friend who had to work in the sex industry to get her freedom, essentially, in the United States.
That just sounds like niggas is just gonna get away with whatever. I mean, if they know that they can get away with that type of shit, they're gonna get away with it. That's, I mean, really the simplest way that I could try to explain that shit. Like, we know what's going on. Niggas ain't doing shit about it because it seems like it's happening in situations where, it's not really spoken about. So, what do I think about it, nigga? Go ahead.
It kind of put things in perspective, where here in America, not saying that everything is equal and everything's perfectly fair, but, like we said, you have the oppression Olympics or the victim Olympics, where everyone wants to claim victimhood for every dumb thing in the world, when there are people that are going through some real, true suffering, people that are going through some real, true, inhumane shit, where we're sitting here talking about, well, if you don't call me a she, because that's what I identify as, your silence is violence and words, and I was like, fuck out of here. Do you know what real struggle is? Do you know what real oppression is? It's like, it seems that in our United States, because we don't go through anything, we have to make up a struggle. We have to find something to complain about. When there are truly people that are really going through some real shit. They're going through some real shit, but we don't give a fuck about them. We don't give a fuck about them,
Yeah. It was to see these numbers, it really put things in perspective. Like I always known this, so I've never to, fell into that, victim Olympics, oppression Olympics. But I always sided with Schubert when it came to, having that right perspective of, what true suffering is like today. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I think, especially if you want to put a microscopic lens in the Black community, we latch on to slavery that we don't even go through. And That's the unfortunate part. It's just like, nah, homie, you ain't going through any of that suffering at all. I'm like, there are people today doing shit that's unbearable and unthinkable to do. But
or if anything, in the Black community, we should be looking at how many people were enslaved, how many people fought for their freedom, how many people fought through the civil rights movements of having dogs set on them, being hosed, being attacked, all types of justice, just so that you can have an opportunity to read, so you can have an opportunity to sit in the front of the bus, so you can have an opportunity to go to college or start a business, own property, and quote unquote live the American dream. But instead of applying yourself, you're holding on and using other people's struggle as your crutch.
Yeah. Other people's struggles that was decades way before even your existence as your crutch as to why you can't accomplish anything. And man, and then you got some of these millions of people who are essentially would die or do almost anything to get a taste of what we have going on today. It's something else. All right, fellas.